Hi guys, another one of my charity shop finds that's been in my stock for quite a while. Where are we? It's a Nikko Super Nova. I don't have a matching transmitter for it, even though it says 40 megahertz on there. The transmitters I have to hand don't match it. And that fits in quite neatly to a question I quite often get. What happens if the receiver is broken or you've lost the transmitter? One answer is to swap the receiver for one that you know works. So we'll see if we've got enough space in there to fit this one that I've taken out of another car. Looks like 1, 2, 3 screws maybe, if we're lucky. Now, generally speaking, Nikko's quite a good brand. For the quality of the build, or at least certainly the ones I've come across, which will be older ones because I get them second hand in charity shops. Doesn't want to drop out, never mind. One thing I did notice, the battery compartment, I rather like the on-off switch, because all it does when you push that up like that, it pushes that battery away from the contact. It's that simple. A mechanical, and just pushing the battery away. Actually, I'll just make sure that it isn't something, because these are all a little bit corroded. I'll just give them a good rub and try my 40 megahertz transmitter again. No, it's not reacting with this one. I've got a whole bag full of different transmitters upstairs. I do have some Nikko transmitters. But we'll carry on with what I said I was going to do, simply because it'll be an interesting little video. Might as well take them out of the way for now. Right, are we coming apart? Okay, that was simple enough. Will that come down through there? We've got to unscrew it. I don't know if I've done a tear down on this one before or not. Don't remember. Right, it did come off eventually without too much effort. Right, so we've got a receiver in there. Looks like it's coated in something to waterproof it. Oh, it's got very fine wires going down to the steering. We'll have a look at the steering before we carry on, because people like to look at the steering on my videos. It's got little clips holding it in place. Okay, so steering is a big magnet rather than a motor. Yeah, we don't come across that very often. Usually on the very small cars to save weight. So there'll be magnets in here, I would think, of some sort. And that'll get drawn to one side or the other. From the looks of it. Okay, and then underneath there, is there a magnet there? Hang on. Yeah, magnet there, magnet there. Looks like one's a north and one's a south. So it'll either be attracted one way or the other, depending on which way the current's flowing. And then under there we've got a yoke or spring effect to centre the wheels when they've come back. What happens there? Okay, so that's the steering, so that was interesting. Magnetic steering. Right, the reason I was struggling was I put that on upside down. No wonder it wouldn't go on properly. The peg has to go in there. That makes sense. Right, now we should be able to get it back together. That's better. No wonder it didn't want to go together, it was upside down. It does seem to be very nice and robust, yes, which probably means I'm going to break it putting it back together, but nice big screws, not cheap little ones. Okay, well we better have a look at the gearbox as well while we're taking it apart. Looks like it's been in the rain, it's all a bit rusty. Okay, oh, nice metal gear on the motor. Small motor but metal gear. Big gear, small gear, big gear, and then a hexagonal axle to actually give us extra grip, I suppose, in the gear so it doesn't slip round. So yeah, that's rather nice. But we've got a tooth missing just there. Don't know if the camera will pick that up. Well, I'm actually not going to worry about that too much at the moment. Yeah, tooth missing there. Another tooth missing there. I think, is that 2 teeth missing or is that just 1 revolution? Put a bit black on it and then we can check. No, it's just 1 tooth missing. So I might have to do a bit of 3D printing here, but I'm not going to worry about it at the moment. I'm just going to see if we can actually get it running with a different receiver. But at least we know what to expect, that we've got a tooth missing. Right, so back to where we were. We want that receiver out and swap it over to the other one. Probably ought to put a bit of paint or something on one of those so we know which one's which. Alright, let's have a look, see what it says on the receiver. There's nothing written on there to indicate plus or minus. So I'm going to put a little blue dot there. So we know which one's which. That'll probably rub off, but at least I've made an effort. So that's the steering. And the motor. Okay. They're nice big thick wires go into the motor. And they're much thicker than the wires coming up from the battery. That'll confuse me a little bit, but that's the red wire. What can we see to identify the plus? There's nothing on there indicating where to connect battery and, well, battery and earth as I'd call it, positive and negative. Yeah, alright. Hopefully we're nice and warm. Oh, hang on, what's going on here? This one uses two different power feeds. We got white, red and black. I expect it probably uses less power for the steering or something like that. That's interesting. Annoying, but interesting. I don't think this one's going to be going back together the way it's come apart. Just to make life easy, I'll actually cut these wires so we got a little bit of the insulation left on them, so we can see which one went where. Apart from these two, oh, I'll still, yeah, I'll cut them just so I can see where they were, because there's no motor 1, motor 2 or anything like that written on there. Right. Well, one thing I'll try and do is get some solder onto these wires. Which, if you're lucky, you can just burn off that coating. Yep, let's clean that away. Right, let's have a look at this one for a minute. So that's motor 2, which is the steering, I would assume. Antenna, motor 1 plus, motor 1 minus, motor 2 minus, motor 2 plus, battery plus and minus. So that one's just fallen off of there, which was the negative, plus, plus. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Well, I might just use those as the battery wires, because they're nice and thick. I'll cut that one off with a little bit left on it, so we know that did have the white wire. Okay, got that moving. Not moving. Okay, so I did a little mod like this. Well, it was yesterday. I have no idea when the video will come up. I haven't published it yet. But that was just a temporary one. I put the receiver in, then took it out again at the end of the video because I wanted to restore the car to its original condition. But this one I'm not sure about, because it's got broken gear in it. I'm going to have to spend some time trying to fix that. Is this even going to fit in here? Oh, it is just about. Yeah, we might be lucky. Get it in there. Okay, motor. I usually say it doesn't matter which way I do this, it's going to end up wrong. I don't actually like soldering onto this side of the board because you're likely to lift up the track if you're not careful. It'll break away from the surface. But again, I'm just doing this a bit temporary at the moment. Okay, that's motor 1, motor 2. Sorry, motor 1 plus and minus. Where was motor 2? Oh, down here. So that's where we want to stick these two. I'm just a little bit suspicious about the fact it looked like it might use less voltage. So we might blow it up. We might end up making this hobby grade. Leave all of that just like that. Put some batteries in. See if we've got any control. Well, success and failure at the same time. This should be forwards and backwards, but I've actually got that wired up to the steering for some reason. And then this should be left and right. But I've got it wired up to the drive motors. So M1 and M2. Ah, wait a minute, I do remember now. Yeah. That was the steering motor. I should have remembered that. So, despite me thinking that M1 would be the drive motor, it's not. M1 is the steering motor. And M2, plus and minus, are the drive motor. So I need to swap them over. Right. I've put an aerial on it, so we should get slightly better reception, and I was getting with that little bit. That little bit went on to then a spring aerial on the original car, rather like this one. Can we tuck this in neatly? That's the big question. Could just use a lump of that to hold it in. Trouble with using that is it might just possibly pull some components off. And stick it in the corners, and we shouldn't be pulling any components off. I've never had it happen, but it's potentially possible. Right, so that's in. This we need to feed out somewhere. Looks like it can come out the back, and then we can wrap it around there. Right, I'll put the soldering iron away so I don't burn myself, put the screws back in, and we'll give it a try. Well, it works. It's not exactly setting the world on fire. But yeah, that was a success. So that was swapping out a faulty, or certainly a receiver that I didn't have a transmitter for, with one that I knew worked. So, as I say, it's a question I've had quite often. What do I do if I've lost my transmitter or controller? Or what do I do because my receiver has melted? Or things like that. So yeah, if you've got another car that you can pinch the same bits out of, as long as it's the same sort of size, because if you're using the bits out of a very small car and trying to run a big car out of it, you'll probably burn out the H-bridge. That's the bit that controls the speed of the motors, because a bigger motor will take more current. But this one's a nice little car. If anything, the receiver that I've just put in there comes from a bigger car. So that was a safe way to do it. Job done. Of course, the next question is, do I do a hobby grade conversion and print myself a new gear for the back there? I'll think about that. I'm not going to rush to do it at the moment, but that would be the logical way to go. If I'm going to spend time reprinting the gear, then I might as well make it hobby grade anyway. Stick a little LiPo battery in there. Swap out that steering for a little servo. Looked like there was enough room in there to do it. So that might be a project for the future. Thanks for watching. You'll find more information down in the video description. You might like to watch that video up there. And you might like to subscribe over there.